Hello, and welcome to today's episode. I'm going to be your host, The Irrelevant Nerd. Today, we're going to be doing a review of Fantastic Four First Steps, spoiler-filled. Big ol' spoiler warning for you right here. If you haven't seen it, don't watch this unless you just don't care about spoilers. So I'm just going to kind of go through a general outline of the movie and let you know what I liked, what I didn't like, because I did like the movie quite a bit, but there were some things that held it back just a little bit for me. So it starts with an opening scene between Sue and Reed where she has taken a pregnancy test, discovers that she's pregnant, and in this opening scene alone, like, this could have been the only interaction between Sue and Reed, and this would be easily the best Sue and Reed relationship we've had by a pretty wide mile. They have such good chemistry together right off the bat, and you just immediately buy into it, and I loved it, and I was so happy that they finally got it right. And then kind of right after this, it transitions into this kind of like news special about the Fantastic Four on this Earth, and which I believe is what they said, Earth 868, 828, 86. I don't remember it. I'd have to go back, look it up. But anyways, it's this opening news story that describes the first 4 years of the Fantastic Four's career as these superheroes. It explains that they go up into space, so very traditional origin story, except for they don't have Doom in this one, which is like, not Doom in the sense of like he's not in the movie, which he is unfortunately not, but they don't seem to have Doom with them when they get their powers, which I'm like, finally, like, why do all the movies keep doing that? But anyways, I liked this news story a lot. I thought it was a really entertaining way to give us the exposition, catch us up to speed on what they're doing on this Earth, and it really kind of reminded me of the opening of The Incredibles a little bit when they're going through the news and explaining what happened, and I really loved it. And I've always said that if you want to make a good Fantastic Four movie, you just model it after The Incredibles. Like, initially, I really wanted the Brad Bird, the guy who directed the first two Incredibles movies, to direct this movie. I thought Matt Shakman did a great job, but he was who I initially wanted because I kind of just thought, it's a very obvious pick right there. And they explain in this kind of exposition, you hear about this place called Subterranea, which is like a underground people where like they live underneath the ground, which I just said, but and it's kind of just one thing to sort of grow the size of the world, fill it out a little bit so you know what's going on. They have Stingray from Cobra Kai as the Mole Man here. It's very much just a kind of a comedic character, but something that I like about this news story, and you kind of see news updates throughout the movie, is it just shows the scope of the world and how they react to the Fantastic Four. It just makes the world feel very lived in and big, and I think as you're going through the movie, like, I noticed very quickly, like within the first third, that the pacing of this movie is great. It grips you right away. It keeps going from scene to scene. Like, I don't remember checking my watch at all, which admittedly I think I did twice during Superman. And so the pacing here is really strong, and so we're kind of getting into the movie, and then the Silver Surfer comes in, and she looks great. She sounds great. I didn't love the way they did her hair. It had like these weird spiked, jagged edges on the end, which I understand that's probably how it would do it. I just didn't love the look of it, because to me it was the most obvious CGI on the Silver Surfer, and so I don't know how I would have done it differently. I just didn't love the little spikies on the end. But outside of that, I thought she really looked great, and I will say that this Silver Surfer is used very similarly to Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. It came out 2000 Seven. Like, this actually, if you kind of compare these movies, they're very similar plot-wise in how they use Galactus and the Silver Surfer, but it's mostly just kind of a repeat of that. She does fine. There's not a lot of depth given to her character. Like, you find out where she's from. Like, you have a flashback scene that shows her before the Surfer, but it's very brief, and she does have a few interactions with Johnny, like the Human Torch, but it's not a ton of characterization. Mostly she is just a tool for Galactus and to sort of just provide opposition and move the story forward. But I liked how they did her, and I kind of would have liked to have seen Norrin Radd, but I'm here for Shalla-Bal, and I'll be excited to see more of her, because I'm sure she's gonna come back, but I'm jumping ahead, so we keep going, and she delivers this warning, and she's like, I'm the Herald of Galactus, and I herald your end, and hold your loved ones near, and we'll be back to eat you. And Johnny tries to fly after her, and I actually really like that scene, because he, like, catches up, grabs her surfboard, and then she just, like, kind of reverses and looks over the surfboard. I thought it was a cool shot, cool effect. And she says something in her native language, and then he ends up fallen back to the earth, and she leaves, and then Reed starts, like, looking into it to kind of verify this information, which I like. I like that he does the research. He is the scientist. He likes to have the data. That's very Reed Richards. Very good, strong characterization for all of the Fantastic Four, really, but I thought they did a really, really great job with Reed here. So he verifies it, and they decide that they're just going to go talk to Galactus and see what's up and see if they might be able to strike a bargain. And so they end up flying to him using this, I believe they just called it like a faster than light travel, which to me was a perfect example of, like, the Fantastic Four are very clearly beloved and supported by this world, and if you have Reed's intelligence and creativity with support, this is the type of technology you're going to get, even though this world is in the 60s. Like, the public isn't opposing them. They don't have to hide. The military's not trying to take advantage of them. And, like, this is the kind of technology that you get. And so I thought that was kind of cool. But so they arrive. They come out of, like, their warp speed or faster than light travel. And the traveling at all the scenes in space look absolutely fantastic. And they come out. Galactus is destroying a planet, and it looks amazing, and they end up getting kidnapped, and they talk to Galactus inside his ship, and Galactus offers to spare the Earth if they give over Franklin, because he can sense that he's, like, this super powerful being that might be able to take Galactus's hunger away from him and then bear that hunger himself. And obviously the team's like, nah, and they run back to their ship, try to fly out of there. Sue goes into labor, which I don't know if, like, that was just the moment or if that was something Galactus had done. I had kind of heard that was what had happened, but I don't know if I caught that watching through it. Maybe I will the next time I watch through, but regardless, she goes into labor, and the scene works really well. They're trying to escape. Silver Surfer's chasing them through, like, the faster than light travel, and she is catching them. Like, she is faster than, like, this faster than light travel. And I thought that Sue had, like, a really great primal nature about her in this movie, and she says some line that it's not exactly, but she's trying to convince Johnny to take out the Silver Surfer using a gun from the ship, and she says something like, kill her, Johnny, like, she's trying to take your nephew, like, and she doesn't mix words. She's not like, oh, like, lose her, like, get rid of her. It's kill her, like, kill her. She's trying to take my kid. And I really love that, because, like, that is some protective parental shit right there. And so I thought they did a really good job, and so Johnny does start shooting the lasers at her, and the lasers bend because of the speed that they're moving at and the way that it's, like, warping reality as they travel and blah, 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 and it looks so cool, and he tries to, like, arc the shot, but, like, eventually Silver Surfer gets him, kind of damages the ship, knocks him out of this speed very, very close to a black hole, and so Reed decides to use the black hole for a double purpose. One, they're going to use it to slingshot themselves back home now that they're, like, warp engine is gone, and then two, they're going to use it to trap the Silver Surfer and slow her down so they have a chance to escape. Because if they weren't going to outrun her with that drive, then they're definitely not going to do it now. And so it warps her in. You see this black hole, and I hear a lot of people saying it is very Interstellar. Like, it looks fantastic. This is easily the best that space has looked in the MCU by far. Like, it looked cool before, like in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but it all has that, like, blue, red, purple tint in the background, and I just thought this looked next level. And I don't know how the science of it works. I'm not that guy who knows that much about black holes. Like, if they got close enough to the event horizon, then their time should have been affected. Like, they show up back to Earth like 2 years later as opposed to like a month later. I don't know how that should have worked out, but the scene looked cool, and I didn't think about it that much. Like, while I was watching it, it played well, but then as I was thinking about it later, I'm like, what? That, I don't know, based off of, what I learned from Interstellar. But anyways, doesn't matter. So they get back to Earth, and they reveal that they didn't stop Galactus, but Galactus did make them a deal that they couldn't accept, and it was for their son, and people of Earth immediately, understandably, become upset, being like, oh, you're really not going to sacrifice this one baby to save like 6 billion, 5 billion people, however many people are on this Earth, whatever it happens to be. And like, obviously from a parent's perspective, no, you're not going to give up your child. So I see it both ways. And then Sue eventually comes out, has a moment with the crowd, and she says, it's another line I'll misquote, but something like, I will not sacrifice my child for this planet, but I won't sacrifice this planet for my child. And they come up with a plan to stop Galactus. And the plan is admittedly my least favorite part about the movie. Like, looks great, plays out fine, but it's silly. And it is one of those things that kind of makes you... Like, Reed Richards is supposed to be the smartest character in the Marvel Universe, and this plan seems to not be created by somebody who would have that level of intelligence. So the plan is... they're going to use this teleportation technology that Reed has kind of slowly been developing kind of on the side in this movie. It's shown it like a few times being demonstrated to work to like move an egg a couple feet. And they're like, we're going to teleport the planet somewhere else where Galactus will never find us. Now, immediately you're like, well... are you teleporting it close enough to a sun? Does it have other planets that will provide the same benefits as our planets in the galaxy way? Like, does it have a Jupiter that's going to suck up all the meteors from slamming into our planet? Or is that Jupiter? Is that Saturn? Whatever planet helps us out. This is where you have to give a little bit of grace, and you do have to assume, like, that Reed would have been intelligent enough to think of those things and pick a spot that would work and be hospitable. But on the face of it, the more I think about the plan, the sillier it is. So, but anyway, so the Earth, they support them. They all get behind the plan. They all try to, like, conserve energy and help put up these structures to help the teleportation process. But it's literally all for nothing. Silver Surfer comes back, destroys the teleportation modules, and all except for one, the one that's left in Times Square. And then Johnny kind of gets to her and, like, is able to bring her these messages that he has discovered, or that Reed had discovered, that coming from other planets that Galactus had destroyed, that are cries of pain. And I believe he also gets cries from Shalabal's planet, like, thanking her. So she becomes overridden with, like, guilt, emotion, and she zips off, and she's out of the picture for most of the final fight here. And so with the one teleporter left, the plan that they come up with is they're going to use Franklin as bait and draw Galactus into this last teleporter and boom him across the universe, and without his ship, he'd have no way of getting back. Now, this is probably initially what the plan should have been, was let's draw Galactus in, and then as he thinks he wins, boom, we teleport him out. And you could have used less resources, still have like several teleporters to like try and get as big of a field, make sure that you get him, but wouldn't have had to like drain the entire planet of their resources and power to make this work. But probably is initially what the plan should have been. And so they put Franklin's baby carrier there, but it's empty and it's just sitting in the middle of an empty street. And so Galactus sees it and then starts looking around and sees that they've hidden him at the Baxter building, and then starts going that way. And he says something like clever bugs or clever roaches or whatever phrase he uses. And is it really that clever? Like, do you really think these parents are going to leave their newborn sitting completely alone? Like, they're not even standing close to pretend like they're guarding it or anything. Like, I don't know. The plan all comes across. So, like, the final scene is fun. It looks cool. Like, Galactus marching down the street's awesome. I like that, I thought they did his scale super well. And I would have liked to have seen him, like, shrink and grow a little bit, because Galactus does have that power to manipulate his size and matter. But it looked really cool. But when you think about the plan, it's the worst part of the movie, and I get why people kind of joke about it, because it makes Reed look silly, but it ultimately ends up working because it looks like, because like Sue basically starts using her powers to just start pushing Galactus towards this teleporter, and like, again, very primal, very motherly, and she exerts so much power, and they're all like chipping in, trying to help out, like the things knocking over building. And and just while I'm on the thing, because I know I'll forget to come back, but I really like the thing in this movie is a lot of scenes just kind of out and about in the community, and I love that they just accept him and love him. It doesn't show like the crappy part, it just shows how he fits into this world, and I like that. But it shows him contributing, Human Torches trying to like burn Galactus's eyes, blind him, and so it is a team effort, but Sue's really the muscle, and she ends up exerting so much, and Johnny is basically like, tell my nephew that I love him, and he starts flying towards Galactus to do this final push to get him teleported away. And they'd kind of set this up throughout the movie that Johnny was willing to sacrifice himself for the people that he loved, and so he starts flying in, and then out of nowhere, Silver Surfer comes in, ends up pushing Johnny out of the way, and she pushes the Silver Surfer through herself, or pushing Galactus through herself, and ends up getting teleported with him. And again, Silver Surfer sacrificing himself, something we've seen before, something we saw in the other movie, but it does fit, and I do like it. I would have liked a little bit more build-up with the Surfer, because it is very quick, and then she just literally has a scene where she flies in out of nowhere, and then she's gone for now. But I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more of her in this movie. But so the plan ultimately works, and they're all happy, and win the day, and getting ready for the future, and it goes pretty quickly to the credits from here, and then you get to the mid-credit scene, the important one. It's not very long, and I wish it had been a little more, but I think it is hype. But it's a year into the future, so it's celebrating the fifth anniversary of the Fantastic Four being formed, and So Sue goes off to grab another book to read to Franklin, and she comes back. She very clearly senses something there. I think she hears it, and she kind of gets her power ready, like blasting, very motherly and protective. And she turns the corner, and you don't see the face, but you see Dr. Doom sitting there with Franklin, hinting towards Doomsday, and they've already confirmed that is Robert Downey Jr. sitting there, even though you don't see him. And I like it. I think this is a good kind of like, oh my god, like what's happening? Like, I don't think that he's kidnapping Franklin. I know a lot of people do, but he's just sitting there too calm to be. And in a lot of the comics, like, Sue and Dr. Doom have like a decent enough relationship that they can communicate with each other. Like, he doesn't hate her like he hates Reed. Like, that hate is actually pretty much only just for Reed. Like, he's not a fan of the Thing, he's not a fan of Johnny, but he has respect for Sue. And so I think they're actually just going to end up having some type of conversation, and eventually he might try to take Franklin, but I don't think that's what's happening in this scene. But I think it's exciting going forward. I still don't know how I feel about RDJ's Doom, but I want to see it. I want to see Doom in the MCU, see what's up. And also, I was thinking about it because Galactus is teleported away. His ship is still there, just hanging like right off of Earth, and I'm like, Doom is going to go, he's going to try to use that shit for something, I'm sure of it. Like, I bet Reed is going to want to study it, but something tells me that Doom's just going to get to it first. I would love to see Reed study it, get his 10 years to really figure out what's going on, especially since this is a alternate reality. It doesn't really matter how long it takes. It doesn't affect the 616. But, yeah, so that was the movie, kind of my thoughts on some of the, plot points. I really did like this movie. I kind of went a little hard on the ending there, but I love it. I stand by my rating. I think this is a 9 out of 10. It's a breath of fresh air for the MCU. The entire cast has great chemistry with each other. They suit the characters well. Characterization is strong. Would have liked a little bit more out of Silver Surfer. Also would have liked a little bit more out of Galactus, but this is very clearly such an improvement over the other Galactus we got in Rise of the Silver Surfer, and I am very sure that he'll be back. I'm just not sure how, but he's not gone. It's not how Galactus works. But let me know what you guys think. What were some of your favorite parts of the movie, least favorite parts? What do you think of the final plan? Does it make more sense than I'm giving it credit for? This is kind of how I see it, and I know a lot of people are sort of seeing it that way too. But let me know what you think, and I think my next video I'm going to be ranking the 4 Fantastic Four movies. I'm not going to rank the unreleased one because it's unfair. That movie's dealt such a bad hand. It almost is just ranked 5th just by how shitty the studio tried to make it, and that's not really the movie. So anyways, so that'll probably be the next one. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite parts of this movie or least favorite parts of this movie, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.